Uh-oh, the day of reckoning seems to be coming for good old Gabby boy. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and his team are showing big signs of concern as the Recall Gavin movement seems to have massive momentum right now throughout the state. But like many of you who may not know what that actually means, in today's video, I'm gonna break down what the recall process actually entails, what some of the key dates are that you might wanna be aware of, how you can sign the Recall Newsom petition if you want to, and I'll also go into more detail on who some of the big name candidates are that have already said they are planning on running against him to help save California if the recall actually makes it to the ballot. And at the very end of this video, I might even throw a little shocker in there for you on some of my plans for the future of California. All that and more coming right up. What's going on, guys? Matt A here, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. And if you are a returning subscriber, as always, much love. I appreciate each and every one of you. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and the Millionaire Mindcast podcast for more videos and content like this one. I cover all things on real estate, investing, entrepreneurship to help you on your wealth building journey. Also, don't forget to enter my monthly contest and giveaway where I pick one winner, one of you, at the end of every month to win a free 2-night stay at my hotel in beautiful Lake Tahoe, California. All you have to do to enter this contest is to like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell, and then just comment down below done once you've done those things. Also, I want to give a big shout out to last month's winner, Matthew Foster, and I want to thank every one of you who have entered into the contest as well. Now, if you live in California, it's no secret that many people have grown to hate Gavin Newsom. Yeah, I know it is a strong word, and I really don't like using it. But in this case, I'm gonna make an exception because what has happened, let's be honest, what has happened to this beautiful state over the last year, and seeing how many businesses have been absolutely demolished, how many citizens' livelihoods have been taken away from them as a direct result of his poor leadership is just flat out inexcusable. And just like he said himself, these words out of his mouth, we must hold our political leaders in office accountable for their actions. Well, that is, unless it's him after getting caught at a birthday bash at, the French Laundry in Napa Valley with all of his friends, after telling everyone to cancel their Thanksgiving plans and to socially distance and to stay at home. In that case, pump the brakes. Just look the other way, guys. And don't get me wrong, I'm the first person who believes in giving people second chances and taking situations and taking circumstances into account, especially in times like we've all experienced over the past year and with this wild pandemic, right? However, in the case of Gavin Newsom, this wasn't just one isolated incident, and his corrupt actions and his negligent behavior have only become more and more prevalent as time goes on. Many have been really unhappy with his handling of the pandemic and the draconian lockdown measures, which really has just crippled businesses, it's crippled communities all throughout the state, while many others were just shocked by his releasing of tens of thousands of prisoners back into our cities for no real good logical reason. Millions of jobless Californians have struggled to make ends meet while waiting for payments from the state, while at least, and I quote, $11.4 billion in unemployment benefits were magically paid to fraudulent claims while those individuals waited. Vaccine rollouts have been extremely underwhelming after very over promises, and no significant improvement for the state's overwhelmed intensive care units and its frontline workers have been provided. Schools have been shut down, putting excess pressure on families and single parents, while many private schools, and might I add, including the one Newsom's children attend, remain open. Overall, many just feel like he's abused the executive powers that accompany his role, and you add in storylines like, shady PPE mask deals that he's made, or allowing certain businesses, I'll keep those unnamed, to remain open while forcing others to close. Many have been unhappy with his handling of the pandemic and the draconian lockdown measures, which absolutely crippled businesses and communities throughout the state. Others have been absolutely shocked by his releasing of tens of thousands of prisoners back into our cities with no reasonable or logical explanation. But this was honestly just the start. I mean, millions of jobless Californians struggled to make ends meet, waiting for payments from the state, while at least 11 $8.4 billion, and unemployment benefits were magically paid to fraudulent claims. Vaccine rollouts have been underwhelming, and no significant improvement for the state's overwhelmed intensive care units and the amazing frontline workers who are sacrificing their livelihoods, their health for us every single day. Nothing's been provided to them. Schools were shut down, putting excessive pressure on families and single parents, while many private schools, including the one that Newsom's children attend, remain open. Overall, many just feel like he's abused his executive powers that accompany the role that he's in. And if you add in storylines like shady PPE mask deals that he's made, or allowing certain businesses to remain open while forcing others to close, and many of those are closing for good. They're not coming back, right? People are just getting flat out fed up. The guy who's supposed to be watching over us, the guy who's supposed to be fighting for us and protecting the citizens of our state, seems to be doing, in my opinion, the complete opposite. I'm not saying he's horrible through and through, but let's just be honest. Actions speak louder than words. And these are just the things that we know about. And on top of it, when he's been caught red-handed, he's arrogantly sidestepped taking any real accountability. He just gives his standard lip service and he moves right along without any real change, acting like he's basically above the law, which honestly, he's kind of proven to be up to at this point. But with all that said, here's something that you actually can get behind. This is something that is more powerful in 2021 than the elected position that Gavin Newsom finds himself in at the moment as the governor of California, and that is the power of the people, the power of unity, the power of a movement. And it seems like it may be too late for Newsom to unwind his actions without any real consequences, because the recall Gavin train is far out of the station now, and it only seems to be accelerating and picking up steam now that it is out on the open track. According to a recent poll, this was conducted last week by the UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies, it found that less than a half of California voters, 46%, now approve of Newsom's job performance. And that's both Republicans and Democrats. And that his rating is dropping fast as we come up to the March 15th recall deadline. Now, if you're in California, you've probably noticed recall Gavin Newsom signs are popping up all over the state. I see booths at, shopping centers all over town. I see street protests happening on a weekly basis. And really as a whole, it just feels like people of all kinds are done supporting what was once a very extremely popular Democratic governor and his do as I say, not as I do leadership style. Originally, if you remember, this recall movement began as a far-fetched effort by Republican activists, and it was really led by a bunch of fringe and kind of extremist radical groups who just didn't like him, really for no reason, his political affiliation, and it was really backed by some pretty wild and outlandish claims. But over the last year, because of this hypocritical, actions that he's been taking and being caught in countless lies, the movement has now turned legit. It's turned into a credible campaign that has a real chance of throwing Newsom out of office and making him the second recalled governor of California. And this is something that both is supported by Democrats and Republicans alike. In just the last 4 months, his approval rating has dropped 14 points, and the next 30 days will determine whether or not the recall actually makes it to the ballot. So let's dig into this real quick. How does this whole recall thing work? Well, specifically, California is one of 19 states that allows voters to remove state officials before the end of their term. Now, there's no reason that is necessary, and the only requirement needed to put a recall on the ballot is really just enough voter signatures. But how many signatures is the question? Well, in California, that number must be 12% of voters in the last election for that office position. And it must also include voters in at least 5 counties. Now, in the case of Newsom, the magic number for his recall is 1,495,709 valid signatures. Woo! So basically, In order for a recall vote to take place, petitioners would have to get around 1.5 million signatures by March 17th. And so far, as I make this video, at least 1.3 million people have joined the movement. But time is ticking. So if you're someone who wants to sign this petition, you want to get Newsom out of office, here's some key dates you need to know. March 17th, 2021 is the deadline for recall supporters to gather those signatures. After that, the next important date is April 29th, 2021, which is the deadline for counties to verify those signatures that were actually gathered. And if they confirm at least 1.49 basically valid signatures were collected, then the recall qualifies for the next stage. So, what is the next stage? I thought you might never ask. If the recall hits the ballot, an election would be held later this year for a vote. Now, an actual date depends on when state officials can complete various preliminary steps. There's somewhat red tape that goes into this, but according to the recall campaign, they figure the election could be anywhere between September and November, December-ish timeframe. So once the vote is up, voters would be asked 2 questions on the ballot. 1, do they want to recall Newsom? Yes or no? Very simple answer. And if more than 50% of the voters say yes, who should replace him? It's as simple as that. Now that leads us to our next question. Let's assume the recall actually happens. Fingers crossed. Who would the challengers be to potentially replace him? Well, as of this past week, there are already many people who have thrown their hat in the ring. Challengers such as conservative commentator Mike Cernovich and billionaire venture capitalist and former Facebook executive Chamath Palihapitiya, I hope I said that right, have suggested that they would run against Newsom if a recall takes place. However, other grassroots conservatives, and one of my favorites like Major Williams, is saddling up with their own campaigns and really building some momentum. If you haven't checked out Major Williams yet, I highly recommend you do. I'm not really endorsing anybody. I just really like what he stands for, and he honestly reminds me a little bit of Obama in terms of his swag, but with a little bit more conservative flair to himself, and he is running as a Republican. Now, whoever we choose, all I know is that it can't be any worse than Gavin Newsom. Again, I always try and give people the benefit of the doubt, but watching California, a state that I was born and raised in, a state full of so much culture, so much history, so much diversity, so many amazing people, so much opportunity, and so many great amenities to offer the people of the state, flat out turned into a government-controlled dumpster fire because of one person, one poor leader. Just isn't something that I want to stand by and support. Let me be clear for all of you. Let me just say this. This is not about being Democrat. This is not about being Republican. I'm technically an independent, but I will say that I vote and I judge people based on their character, on their core values, on their policy, and most importantly, just on their actions. The video of their life and how it plays out, and not just the words and the audio that they're spewing out of their mouth. Because let's be honest, it's easy to be a good talker. It's easy to be the messenger, but it's a whole other thing to live with accountability, to lead with your message. And Gavin Newsom is the farthest thing from that kind of leader. So as we come to a close, you might be wondering, will this recall actually get on the ballot? Well, even though recall attempts are becoming more common nowadays, winning is still an uphill battle. Historically, the only California governor ever recalled, and just the second nationwide ever, was Gray Davis in 2003 when the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, came in behind him. But times have drastically changed since then, and I'm betting on the amazing people of California to do what they think is best for their state presently and in the future, and my vote is to get him out. Hell, I may even throw my hat in the ring if it makes it to the ballot, because the cool thing is anyone can run during a recall. So what do you guys think? Should I run for governor? Drop me a comment down below. Okay, but seriously, with that said, if you're unhappy with our leadership and you want to be a part of the change, you want to be a part of that movement, I'll close with this. One of my great mentors told me this, and it's always stuck with me. If you want to see change, you have to be the change. There is no they. You can't think, oh, they'll vote him out. Oh, that group of people will take care of it. Whether it is in politics, whether it's with your health, whether it's with your bank account, your financial future, your marriage. You have to take charge. You have to lead by example. So if you want to be a part of this, go down to the show description below, and you can find the links with more information on how to sign the petition, or you can just head over to recallgavin2020.com. They've got a form that you can easily download, very simple to fill out, sign, and send in with very simple instructions. And if you know anyone who wants to sign this recall and can get it done, time is ticking, guys, and we have a real chance to make a change, a real chance to make history. So if this video was helpful for you, I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed making it. And if you enjoyed it, the best way you can help make a difference in this movement is by smashing the like button so more people will organically see it. It drastically helps with the YouTube algorithm and shows this video to more people. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more informative videos like this one, and drop me a comment down below on your thoughts about Gavin Newsom and the state of California. Whether you're for him, whether you're against him, are we headed for darker days, or do we still have a fighting chance? You guys know my answer. You know, I've been born and raised in California my whole life. I love this state. I love all the people in it, and I will do my best to continue showing up as a leader and speaking out for what I believe in, so that way my kids, that way your kids, our communities, doesn't matter, color, creed, race, you know, demographics, none of that matters to me. We are all human beings that want a better life and want a better future. And I hope that California continues to move in the right direction. And when we are all united on one front, we have the ability to shape that. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers, my friends.